Excuse me, do you mind if I join you? Are you sure you don't mind? You're absolutely sure I won't be disturbing you?
I am known as the man with 1,000 voices. Shall I do my stuff?
Yes, go right ahead.
That's a joke, son. That's a joke.
What's that?
Yes, son, it's a joke.
Everybody
wants to get into the act.
But that was only in 999 voices.
Shucks, I know I've got another one. Well, I'll think of it.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Suppository. I'm Brett Herholtz.
I'm Kevin Barbare.
I'm Jamie Billings.
I'm Andrew Shanley.
And our guest tonight.
Hi, I'm Wayne Nevis.
Before we get started, we have a new sponsor to the show.
A new sponsor.
New sponsor. Dun, dun, dun.
The Mental Suppository is brought to you by Captain Crunch Cereal.
Wrong.
Wrong?
It's brought to you by Captain Trump Cereal.
Captain Trump?
That's right. Not only is it the best cereal for breakfast, it's the only cereal you should have for breakfast. Cocoa Puffs, not that good. And I heard Sonny the Cocoa Puffs bird runs a meth lab in his basement, okay? Listen, no, excuse me. And Diggum the Sugar Smacks frog, he does porn. That's not the role model I'd want at my breakfast table.
I don't think any of that's true.
Who you going to believe? Me or the Fruit Brute? He has super glue and he's got Rainbow Bright Pregnant. And his cereal, bad for your health. You'll die if you eat it, not like Captain Trump cereal, okay?
You haven't told us anything about your cereal.
I can tell you what Sugar Bear can't get enough of. Eating children.
Oh, come on now.
That's what I heard, okay? And the Honeycomb Hideout is run by a gang of illegal...
That's it. I'm done.
Captain Trump cereal, part of a balanced breakfast, and you can trust me, unlike that drunk leprechaun.
Hey, moving right along.
I'm not finished.
Oh, yes, you are. Kevin, you might want to turn his microphone off. So that's a good lead into what we're going to be talking about tonight, voice acting. I don't know if anybody's seen the documentary, I Know That Voice. But I mean, anybody who has seen it, I mean, it was produced about voice actors acting by voice actors. And
am I in it?
No.
Then I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Am I in it?
You're not a voice actor.
Oh, I'm probably not going to see it.
But it's one of these things. It's like I've heard people say, "Oh, voice acting. It's just doing funny voices. I could probably do it." And people don't understand that there's a lot because it's like. You got to do, not only, do a lot with your voice that, makes you sound like a bunch of, a lot of characters in a lot of room, but it also is the whole thing of acting as well. And we have somebody here, our friend Kevin Barbare, who is a professional voice actor who is not only worked in, radio, but has also worked in television and video games and movies as well. So, I mean, he's somebody who's done voice acting. He's somebody we can talk about, his experiences and also his influences in doing voice acting tonight. So
right.
Yeah.
Fire away. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about just kind of how you transitioned to do voice acting as far as acting in different roles and different stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
Well, they were all basically interconnected. I mean, I anything outside of doing a radio show kind of was a springboard from the radio show. So creating Rock and Shock was because I had the connections at AAF to talk to people and say, hey, let's do this. This is a good idea. And then the horror convention kind of led to meeting people who wanted to make movies and then people who wanted to make television shows. The voiceover stuff, I did it as part of my regular job already when I would do comedy, but we also I had to write and produce a lot of commercials. So once I was just doing that all the time, it was something I was already doing. So I kind of knew what I was doing, as opposed to people who just say, I'm going to be a voice actor, and they just start doing it and not sure how to go about it and all that.
Right.
So it kind of helped with having that background, not only in radio, but the dramatic background, where you're not just reading a script like when you're in high school on stage. That that made a big difference. And and of course, being able to do impressions was key, because even though there are a lot of people that do impressions, there aren't a lot of people that get hired to do impressions in commercials. So that was an ability I saw. There's not a lot of people doing that, and the ones that weren't doing it, in a way that I thought was that good. So I just kind of leapt onto that part as well.
Well, that was something
and like
with
in the past couple of weeks that we've been doing the show together, you've thrown out a couple of impressions after we've been talking, just random names, and you just did the impression. Like I've never done that impression before. And for instance, the Walter Matthau experience, you had me in tears after that, just by mentioning the name. You said it.
You schmear. Yeah. You look like you were.
Yeah, that's right, you moron.
That's right, you moron. Yeah. Yeah, I like the living Matthau talking to myself as both of them.
So
I was the gangster of love, the thief of hearts. Was it more of a hold up or a stick up last night?
So obviously, like you're like really great at doing impressions. What was like the first experience of you had when you came up with your first impression, when you said to yourself, "Hey, I can do mimicry"? What was your first experience doing that?
The earliest experience I remember being in like 3rd or 4th grade, making people laugh on like at recess.
That's usually
Yeah, that's how it starts.
And actually, you'll appreciate this, Brett. I was doing an impression of an old Spike Jones bit.
Really?
A horse race, Beetle Bomb.
Oh my! Yes, I know that one.
Oops, sorry. Yeah. And here comes Beetle Bomb. And it was all just like one-line stupid jokes, like the names of the horses matched together, like assault is passing battery, assault battery. It's
the word humor, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember trying to make a lot of the sound effects with with my mouth and stuff. I think it did a lot of sounds back then too. It just kind of, then it went into cartoon characters. As far as people, I don't know who the first like real person I did an impression of. It was probably Evangelist, because I was in the South, so everybody knew.
Okay. You had like your own characters. You started doing your own characters. Oh, okay.
Well, I
that young.
No, like actual famous evangelists, like Jimmy Swaggart. Everybody knew what Jimmy Swaggart sounded like, and everybody knew it. There was this one guy, Ernest Ainsley, that everybody knew what he sounded like back then. And I also went to a Christian school for the first 5 years of my life. So that was a lot of that. And then that just kind of led to people I saw on TV all the time. It wasn't like Carson. I'm the first person television wise I used to do. The only ones I can think of are like comedians, like Steve Martin or Cheech and Chong. Just I knew how to do their voices, but I couldn't necessarily say anything.
Everyone could do like the "Hey man, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Dave's not here, man.
Hey man, I got the stuff. Dave, it's Dave, man.
Well, it's funny you guys talk about that, because it's like a lot of voice, there's a lot of voice actors that, there's ones that just do original voices, and then ones that do impressions. I mean, people like, if you think about like Dawes Butler did like both original voices, but he also did impressions of people like, Jackie Gleason and Art Carney. I mean, actually the original version of the Flintstones, he actually did Fred and Barney as Jackie Gleason, the pilot as Jackie Gleason and Art Carney. But then you had people like Mel Blanc, who actually didn't do impersonations. And he was one of these people, when people said, would you like to do, could you do an impersonation? He goes, no, I can't do impersonations. And Kevin, you actually are one of these people, much like a Dawes Butler, where you can do you do impressions, but you can also create original voices as well.
Yeah, and I do remember doing a lot of the Mel Blanc voices because I watched that stuff on Saturday morning.
Oh gosh,
so
yeah.
those kind of things were coming up. I might have done like Dr. Smith and the Robot because I remember
Yes.
watching them.
Oh, I know you probably did the Snagglepuss and the Droopy Dog and those kind of,
Yeah,
characters.
all the ones that have like an affectation to their voice were
Right.
Yeah.
Just think of it this way: all those years of watching Saturday morning cartoons weren't like just you sitting in front of the TV. It was research.
Yeah, eventually it became research. This is true.
So like Brett, you bring up like a good point about people that can like create their own voice and
Yeah.
characters. Like there's also those people that can just walk into a show with just their natural voice.
Oh my gosh!
Case in point, Lorenzo Music.
That's
The guy
true.
never changed his voice for any character. He was the same person.
Hello, this is Carlton, your doorman.
Carlton the doorman, how you doing?
Is that Lorenzo Music?
That's
So
Lorenzo,
we were
yeah.
talking about the same person earlier. We were having this conversation earlier, and we were talking about the same guy, but two totally different characters. We're like, we're sure we're talking about the same guy?
But actually, it's funny mentioning, Dawes Butler doing doing Fred and Barney, because it's like originally when Mel Blanc was doing Barney Rubble, he did it like with this sort of this kind of nasal voice, and Barney kind of sounded like this, and then Mel Blanc got into the accent. And Dawes Butler actually stepped in for Barney Rubble, for while he was in the coma, while he was recovering, and then
he's in a coma.
Yeah, it was actually when somebody said it was actually Bugs Bunny that brought Mel Blanc out of the coma.
That's right.
Oh.
It's one of these things where the doctor said they actually had I think they had a Looney Tunes cartoon, and the doctor says, "Are you okay, Bugs?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine, Doc." And that's what actually brought him out of the coma. And after that, actually, one of these things, the voice of Barney that Dawes Butler did, kind of Mel ended up adopting. So
I do remember a lot of. I used to do a lot of when I was younger news anchors. My parents watched the news all the time, so it was always
Dan Rather.
Yeah, Dan Rather. I used to do like David Brinkley and Tom Brokaw and
Tom Brokaw.
Walter Cronkite. Good evening tonight in Washington. Yeah, there's and David Brinkley. I'm trying to think who else was that. Walter Cronkite was big. So I did Walter.
Sam Donaldson was another one.
Sam Donaldson. He's always I'm fed up. I'm trying to think of you just reminded me of something. This is Charles Carlton, the Frost on the Pumpkin. We're gonna go. I mean, voice I haven't done in years, but definitely did Brokaw a lot and did Walter Cronkite a lot. Today we're going leaf peeping up in New Hampshire. That's the way it is. Today,
Yes,
November 22nd, I just received word that the President of the United States has been assassinated. John F. Kennedy.
Oh.
My parents
Let's see
laughing.
the sportscast that's really popular. Oh God, who was it? ABC Wild World of Sports. Who was it?
Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell. There it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's got him.
Howard Cosell. Yeah.
Howard Cosell.
I mean, I used to watch Rich Little a lot when I was little.
Yeah.
Rich Little was good up until he reached a certain point where he couldn't quite maintain the topicality with his impressions. So when he tried to do newer people, it was really weird.
That's a good question. Who do you find were your influences doing voice acting impressions? Just.
I did admire Mel Blanc. I mean, Rich Little was really the only one that I saw on television all the time. But there were others. There was Fred Travellina, who was really good. He had like his own little TV show for a little while.
I think Rich Little had to pay like a license fee to Carson for his impression at one point. Otherwise, Carson would have gone after him.
Interesting. The Frank Gorshin. He used to do great impressions.
He did a great George Burns. I mean, I think he did like a one-man show where he did like an impeccable George Burns.
Oh yeah.
I think the cigarettes helped him do that too.
Yeah. Well, that didn't turn out well.
No, that did not.
So how did you feel about performers like Frank Gorshin?
I thought his impressions were really good. And, the thing about him was I liked that there was something about his face where he could make himself kind of look like some of the people. It was almost like a Jim Carrey quality. But,
Yeah.
Frank had this like
He was a
60s
rubber
handsome to him. Yeah. I mean, when he did Burt Lancaster, he looked like Burt Lancaster. When he did Kirk Douglas, he looked like Kirk Douglas. So it's just really funny to see him do those.
Well, it's funny. Even when he was doing the Riddler, it seemed like he was doing impressions within doing his thing of the Riddler, where he would do like an aside where you get like really serious, and then he'd go into that giggle, which was like
he'd almost like mug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. Him and Burgess Meredith as a Penguin were two of my favorites. But yeah, I mean, I keep forgetting Frank Gorshin was like a great impressionist.
Yeah, and I think I got to meet him once.
I am jealous.
When he was older. Yeah, somewhere I have. I think I actually have a photo.
Dish.
Yeah, I have a photo of him somewhere dressed as the Riddler, but that he signed for me. But I told him that he was one of my influences growing up, and he was like, his voice is really great. You can do impressions, and so that was really cool. Those are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head. I mean, and I don't want to say Rich Little was an influence, but Rich Little, I was like, I could do that. I took the ones that he did, and I'm like, I can do that. So when I was old enough, I realized I was able to do his voices. Like if I had been his age in the right place at the right time, I would have killed him. I watch his stuff
kills
now, and
Rich
I'm like,
Little.
This guy had HBO specials. He had every year he did like
11, Kevin Barbare commits murder.
It's funny. And when I went to see him a couple of times growing up, but then once he came on the show, and our show is of the type where the host liked to put people in uncomfortable positions. So when Rich was on, he had us do an impression off, and he would just throw out impressions, and we both had to do them. And I think at the time I was doing Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot, because Arnold was the governor. So this was coming up a lot, and it was like, I do a voice and Rich would do a voice. I do a voice and Rich do a voice. And I think the first two, it was like, I knocked him out of the water. So I'm like, oh, I don't like this. And then he got pissed, and he said,
"Oh my God!"
He did Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, "Well, do you do Arnold Schwarzenegger, asshole?" And he said it like that.
Jeez.
And I
voice off.
I was like, and everybody in the room was like, oh. And I said, I'm very disappointed that you're talking to me like that, Rich Little. Back in the 70s when we were on Carson together, you're a very nice guy, and I think you become very bitter in your old age. And he just left.
Oh.
I mean, if he'd busted it out like George Burns or something, he would have had me, because I can't compete with that.
This is how voice actors battle each other, kind of like, the 1980s gangs where they have like, a breakdance.
All I can think of is like Eminem and 8 Mile when they're doing the rap off. So it's like Kevin Barbare versus Rich Little.
After Kevin's done, like Kevin looks at Rich Little, like holds up the microphone, walks away.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Well, it's funny because it was on that documentary. I know that voice, Maurice LaMarche, talks about, being on the school ground and hearing his teacher doing a horrible impersonation of Columbo. And all of a sudden he just goes over, and he must have been like a 9 or 10-year-old kid. And he goes, excuse me, sir. I can't stand here to listen to you like just do a horrible impersonation of Columbo.
That's funny.
So it brought me back thinking that, you talk about doing it, doing impersonations and making friends laugh on the playground, because that's kind of how it starts. So yeah.
Yeah. I like to make people laugh. That's for sure.
And you're successful at it.
If there's any professional like character that you'd like to do, like for example, if you were like hit up to do like a major like character to voice, what character would that be?
And would it be a tree?
What tree would you be?
I am Groot.
Major
Soy
character.
Groot.
So, for example, if somebody that is famous for doing some specific voice passed away, and I mean, could
if you were to
replace
pick like
anybody,
if you like to pick like a cartoon character that you wish you could voice, or a particular like character that people really know,
Kevin Barbare.
What would be like the number one you'd want to be?
Well, there's two ways to answer that question. Which one would pay the most money?
Good
Which
answer.
I think probably the number. I actually I don't know these days. The world is so weird right now. I would
I
think
know.
Mickey Mouse is still like a top money making voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you get paid to do Mickey Mouse and that's all you do, you're probably doing okay.
Yeah. You're shackled
But-
to the Disney thing.
Yeah, but outside of that, I'm trying to think what
Well, yeah, and you're
what-
already in the whole Disney thing anyway. You got
Yeah.
the C-3PO thing, so you're already good in there.
Yeah.
So, like, what other dream voice?
Oh
Kevin
no,
Barbare.
the Rancor!
no, the Rancor.
Yeah, it would be nice to
If
be
Willow
part
was
of
in
one
Star
of
Wars.
the.
Warwick Davis just shows
Warwick
up.
Davis, if he was suddenly that.
No, look out for the Rancor.
There's got surrender and order.
There go cat.
Oh, nice. Always good to have a good Willow reference here or there.
Oh yes.
Mad Martigan.
Still waiting for that sequel.
Peeing.
Anyway, yeah. So Kevin, dream voice.
I would love to have done any of the Looney Tune characters growing up,
Yes.
probably.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck or Sylvester or any of
All of
those.
them.
I would have liked all of them. Yeah.
Or all of them, yeah. You can do that.
Because those are the ones that really stand out in memory cartoon wise. I mean, the Super Friends, I remember their voices and stuff, but they weren't like stand out. It was just,
Right.
you know. So that would probably be it. If I had to pick anybody. Or if they ever did a Star Trek animated series, they wanted people that sounded like the original crew.
Right.
There you go.
Oh,
Especially
that'd
since
be
most
great.
of the original crew isn't around anymore, sadly.
Yeah.
Right. Even the ones that are around aren't quite all there.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
Like, for example, James Earl Jones, probably one of the most iconic voices of all time, Darth Vader. You can definitely hear how his voice has changed over the years. When he was in Rogue One, when he did the voice of Darth Vader and that,
Yeah.
definitely different. He's definitely, his voice has aged so much.
It happens.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because I was just listening to like audios of Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor, and he still sounds the way he did in 1974, 75.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know if it's just like alcohol and cigarettes over the year have just worked well for him, but you know, I've drank wine all of these years, and it's been very good to me.
It's that British tea.
I really love being the Doctor, and people
It's
just
the
love
British
me.
tea.
Yeah. So that's the other
Maybe he,
thing.
maybe he hasn't done a lot of shouting in his life.
Probably,
True.
possibly, but that was the other thing I've kind of wondered with voice acting. You know, just like with a lot of the movie, like the Boss Baby and Megamind sort of movies where they have big actors doing the voices. How has that made like voice acting for people who are just like people who just are jobbing voice actors more difficult?
I think it probably did back then because there weren't so many formats for people to watch. Like when Megamind came out, you wouldn't just stay home and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Now I think it's opened a little bit more to where people that I know are in the industry can just get a job doing a voice in a movie that's a major movie. It just doesn't come out in the theaters.
Right.
So there's no money in the theaters anymore. It's more of doing it
every movie
at
every
home.
movie right now is shelved.
But I'm thinking
Yeah.
even more. I think even more like like an actor just doing a voice in a movie, as opposed to somebody who is a voice actor who just can do multiple voices in a movie. How does that make that difficult for them? Because it's like it's like we have Alec Baldwin doing like one voice, but it's like it just seems kind of unfair to because it should be like these movies should be people who like do this for do voice acting for a living rather than getting like the big name actor just to throw them into like a movie.
Yeah.
I think it probably has something to do with wanting to make sure more adults are finding a reason to pay to go see it
Right.
with their kids instead of going, hey, let's go see Boss Baby. It's got the guy who did the voice on this episode of this in it. Hey, let's go
That
see
guy in
Boss
30
Baby.
Rock.
It's
Let's go
got
watch it.
Alec Baldwin or Kevin Spacey doing the. Oh, okay. I'd like to see
I
that.
don't know so much Kevin Spacey anymore, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin
Spacey in a Woody Allen film.
Yeah, no.
Kevin
Not good.
Spacey
From
and Woody
Pixar.
Allen. Kevin Spacey and Woody Allen.
On the
Could it be any
Hallmark
worse?
channel.
Oh,
On the Lifetime channel, even
Kevin
worse.
Spacey on the Lifetime channel.
Hmm.
And silence. That led right into an awkward. Whoa!
Thank you. That's what I'm here to do.
Well done, Jamie. Well done.
Throw down the horrible reference to end the show.
That's always good.
But I mean, one of the last shows you talked about, you do a lot of, like, you did video game voices for like Optimus Prime. You were telling us about last time. So I mean, which I thought was amazing, because that was one of those. That's one of those like iconic voices people, especially my generation, just like really gravitates towards. And it's a damn good impression. It's a damn good impression of Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime, and it's a lot closer than I've heard a lot of other people who have sort of done it, including this recent Transformers thing that dropped on Netflix. I'm listening to the voice of that. It's like, shit, they should have had Kevin Barbare do the voice, because it's a lot better sounding than the one. Yeah,
Kevin was way better. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
you're welcome.
The only
Yeah.
thing,
No.
I actually think that another big issue about voice acting is when they redub foreign films for American audiences. I was watching a film. It was a Russian war film, and they had redubbed the actors in an American. They obviously did not get a very good crew of people to do it, because when there are moments where they have to be super dramatic, they're just not very dramatic, and like what they're doing, what's going on screen isn't really matching the voice that they're giving. And it's very strange. So I can understand that was a big thing, and obviously in voice acting as well, is the redubs, because obviously, sadly, people don't really appreciate subtitles like I do. But it can be distracting. I understand. But like when you have like a film.
Oh, your camera fell.
Yeah, he fell down again.
I saw Kevin fell down 3 times already.
Your camera's drunk, Kevin.
Enough.
Yeah, he needs to go to a program. But yeah, I can see like voice actors obviously getting a chance to really do a lot of redubs in films and that sort of thing, especially like for French or for even Asian films for the American market. So that's an avenue to explore. That'd be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, there are companies that do only that too, that just redub everything for that language,
Yeah.
I think.
Or from that language. Sorry, the other way. Yeah.
I think probably the closest and the best I've heard, like the redubs, is like the Hiro Miyazaki films. I think they've gotten, those were the ones they did. They ended up dubbing for Disney, were the ones that like Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service. They did like a really good job dubbing those, because it's like a lot of the ones that they tried to dub in like the 80s or 90s, or like the old Speed Racer ones. They just never got them right. It was like always like, Speed, you must not go. The Mach 5 is not ready. Haha.
I'll show you what we need to do. Haha.
So in this one, it's just like with the ones they did for like Hiro Miyazaki, it seemed like they took a lot of care in like getting the lip movement of the animation and the voice acting right for the anime, for the American release. And it was just like really, and the voices they did were just beautifully done.
Well, not only that, but also there's a thing with lost in translation, with a lot of complex stuff that is said in Japanese, for example, that's so condensed that to say it in English, it actually makes it twice as long. So they have to kind of make decisions editorially about how they're going to do it. So they have to be creative about
compromise, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like making a
compromise between the languages in order to make it
exactly. Yeah. So that's obviously a challenge in voice acting that I can imagine being one that any film has to adjust to.
You know what? I'm wondering how much someone gets paid for this job. I don't know if you've ever accidentally turned on descriptive audio on your television.
Oh, where Morgan Freeman does all my descriptive audio?
No, it's so let's say you're starting one of the Star Trek films. I'm just thinking because I'm thinking of the Paramount logo,
Okay.
If descriptive audio is turned on, this is how it sounds.
Oh, yes.
A stream of
yeah.
stars comes up from the left-hand corner of the screen. It's becoming a circle around a mountain. The words Paramount Pictures have appeared.
Yeah, that's for
Paramount Pictures presents a George Lucas film. That's how it. That's
Yeah,
how
they
it.
used to- they
but
used
it's
What
to
would it
have
be
that-
like for a
entire
porn?
thing.
Well, they used to have that back in the day because I don't know. We have a friend that's visually impaired, and we would go to the movies sometimes, and they would offer a this wireless headset for him, and
Descriptive audio, yeah.
and it
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be so we would go see movies back in like the late 90s that had the option of descriptive audio, and and I listened to it one or two times, and it really wasn't anything like you're describing how it is now, like Paramount screen on the, it's like very nice soft. It was just like Paramount, someone's walking on the screen, they're walking left, here's some dialogue.
Wow.
But that was back in like in the 90s or so. I don't know. It definitely sounds like it's gotten a lot better for descriptive audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a button that I had hit by accident. I don't know what else they use it on except Amazon Prime, but if you have Roku, it definitely will turn it on for things, and it's pretty
Yeah.
interesting to see.
I remember I was
I may have
watching
to try
Turner
that out.
Classic. I remember I was watching Turner Classic Movies, and for like a solid week, like all the movies had that descriptive audio on, and I was like, "What the heck is going on here? Was it a glitch in their system or whatever?" But like, I'm watching the old classic movies, and they're doing exactly that. It was like, obviously for the elderly people that can't watch the movies anymore, and like, what's going on? Like, they would
What?
have the old guy asking, "What's going on the screen? What's going on?" Oh, okay.
Descriptive audio by George C. Scott.
Oh, you definitely hear it at least.
Yeah.
Someone sitting on the bench.
That rat bastard's walking across the screen.
They're feeding pigeons.
God damn it, I read his book.
George C. Scott and Football in the Groin.
Football in the groin.
Ow, my groin. That was one of the Simpsons episodes. It was like the joke was, they were seeing all these like films, and Homer, it was like a film festival, and Homer wants to like,
Oh, I remember that.
it's like Hans Moleman and Football in the Crotch or something like that.
like
Marty-
Al
Yeah.
My Balls and Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's like, well, Barney's film has heart, but Football in the Groin has a football in the groin.
So all right, back to the
Wayne's
show.
about to lose it.
So
Yeah.
Kevin, obviously, like we've been fans of your work for a while now, but what was your actual first paying job doing voiceover work?
Outside of like part of my regular job, you mean? Like in radio,
Yeah.
like outside of.
Outside of what we know, you like the very first time that you said to yourself, "Wow, I just got paid for doing stuff into a microphone." Wow.
So the first one that I did after radio was a documentary called, and I don't even remember what it was about now, but it was called The November Project. Actually, I can probably do a search and find part of the script right now. And they couldn't afford Morgan Freeman, so they had me do Morgan Freeman for their documentary. And
Really?
yeah,
I'd love you to read part of that.
I was going to say, you can find the script from it that you did.
let's see.
Read us a couple of verses. Oh, testify.
Like a pillow.
And before radio, I got a job doing, and I don't know how I ended up with it. I was doing voices for a radio station, as like and writing commercial thing. And somebody said, "Hey, can you do the voice of the tape recorder from Mission Impossible?" This is before Tom Cruise was. So it was like, "Good morning, Mr. Phelps." And I'm like, "Sure." I said, "Okay, you're gonna fly on a plane with us." This is the first time I've been on a plane down to Disney, and you're gonna do this voice live backstage for General Electric for this thing they're doing, and they're gonna pay for the trip and all this. So I'd never been to Florida, never been to Disney, so this is basically me going by myself to Disney
Never
to
had a
do this
paid trip.
voiceover.
How old
And I
were you
would-
at the time?
So I would have been maybe 20.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
And that was that was it. I'm trying to find something that says November project on it. But yeah, so that was really, and that was really all it was. I think I taught for like 30 seconds, and I think it paid some ridiculous, at the time anyway, I think it was like a ridiculous amount of money. And then I also didn't have to pay for anything else.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, I'm not. I think it was called the November Project, but
As long as the check cleared.
as long as the check cleared, that's right. Actually, if I search my email, that's probably where I would find it. So let's see.
Better check, make sure that got deposited.
November. Yeah, it was. I had never done voice acting for like a living, so I had paid this agency like $350 for a year. And then the next day I got that job, and that job paid $350. So I already made the money back that I was nervous that I had spent in the first job.
Right.
So that was really good.
First job, breaking even. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
got a future in this business, kid. And
Stick
okay,
at it,
cocky.
kid.
Yeah. So that was it.
Did you feel that your work was steady?
Yes. It's steady if you only do that and you stick at it every day all the time. Like if you get up in the morning and you audition for every job, no matter whether you think it's in your wheelhouse or it's not, you're going to get some jobs. But it is just doing all the auditions. And then I try to, just because it doesn't do me any service to audition for a job that say is less than $100, because
Oh yeah.
you know, it's usually going to end up being more than $100 work. So I just try to, it's okay if that's like something you're doing, you're in college, or you just do it for fun.
Right.
But when you're doing it to pay bills and stuff, that's not gonna do it.
No.
So I eliminate those and just try to do what I can fit in. And that's one thing that sucks about having another job, is that it reduces the amount of time you have to sit here and go through all the auditions and the jobs and decides which ones you can audition, and just keep playing them out one at a time.
Right.
And edit them and make them sound good. So
it's like being a working actor, constantly having to decide what kinds of roles you want and what kinds of roles you don't want based on that. And you just go to auditions like the guys that go out to LA. It's just that it happens to be online.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll take a bunch of them and I'll stack them, and I'll put the ones that I'm like 100% sure I probably come in the top 2 with. I'll put those first, and the ones that pay the most I'll put first, and then I go down the line until. And if I run out of time, then I'm like, well, okay, I guess those are going to wait.
Well, even nowadays, it feels like, you can do everything online now. It's like, you got your home studio where you can.
I never auditioned outside the house.
Exactly.
I always, ever since I left radio, everything has been done in-house. I think the only other times I've gone out of the house is I did something for Breaking Bad that they rented a studio in Boston. I had to go to Boston and do that. And then I did something for I Dream of Jeannie, and I know the two things are like, wait, what?
Jeannie?
So both were slot machines, both with the same company. Breaking Bad, I had to audition for Bryan Cranston to do his voice.
Really?
Oh wow!
Wow.
So I got the job. So if you ever go to a casino and you see a Breaking Bad slot machine, I'm Walter White on the slot machine.
Oh wow!
I can believe
when
it.
he was a chemistry teacher, and when he was,
we had the 2 different types of.
I
voices.
am the danger.
Yeah, and then with I Dream of Jeannie, they were doing the same company was doing an I Dream of Jeannie slot machine, and I auditioned to be Larry Hagman because he was dead. He had just died.
That's right. I keep forgetting about that.
Let's dig him up.
Yeah, he had just passed away.
Ah, Larry Hagman, let me have you here.
He had passed away like the year before. So they had Barbara Eden and they had Bill Daly doing Roger and Jeannie. And they were they would do new dialogue, but then they would also, in between like games on the slot machine, they had clips from the show, but they had been redubbed with their voices to say different things, and they didn't have Larry Hagman, so they had me do Larry Hagman, and I was sitting in one room, and I could see, didn't see Bill Daly. I met him at another time, but when I was recording, Barbara was in another room, and I could see her, and I was in this room. We would watch the clips, and we would have to sync up what they were saying with what we were supposed to say. So that was fun.
That's amazing.
That sounds
those
amazing.
Those are the highest paying jobs for the least amount of work, in my opinion, because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, not only that, you get to see like some of the most iconic actors you've ever got a chance to work with.
Right.
Now you're a part of that sort of that lore, that history. That's pretty good.
Good stories, anyway.
And when people don't win money on the slot machine, they just start punching you.
Yeah.
I actually hear your voice.
I actually asked if I could have. I've done like 3 machines for that company. I asked if when I did the first one, which was I think I Dream of Genie was the first one. I asked if I could have a slot machine instead of being paid. So when the machine's done, can I have the slot machine instead of payment? And the gambling commission wouldn't let me, because then I would have the ability to have a casino.
You could
in my house.
near it or something.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
You'd think
So
that
I've
they'd
only
be able to
seen
at
them.
least turn off certain things, but yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually never seen any of the machines that I'm on in person or played them. I've been to Vegas. I couldn't find one. I know they're around.
Have you been to Foxwoods? For the thrill of it all.
I have. I've looked at Encore. There's the Dream of
Mohegan
Genie. There's a
Sun.
Breaking Bad, and there's a Harley Davidson one. And the Harley Davidson one was like a Sam Elliott like voice. So all 3 of those, and I haven't seen them anywhere.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Sons of Anarchy, the slot machine game.
Yeah, they have them.
I believe it.
I was just there 2 days ago picking up a free gift that they had said I won. I went to Encore and saw I saw, this is funny. So I was in Encore going to pick up a gift, and so I'm not, this may sound racially charged, but it's just a fact. It's not racial. If you've noticed, casinos are full of a lot of old people who are just blowing their retirement money, and they sit there for hours. Or there are a lot of Asian people. I don't know if they travel here to go gambling, but anywhere I've ever been, Vegas, Foxwoods, Mohegan. So I'm wondering why they don't find it offensive that they have a crazy rich Asians slot machine.
Oh, God.
It's kind of weird.
But really,
that's a market. There you go. Actually, I had a good question for you. Let's say, for example, you had somebody who was if you had any like good piece of advice of where to direct somebody who's new to voice acting, what steps do you think you would give that person, and where would you tell them to go to kind of start their career off?
Well, if they don't already have some kind of natural skill, like an impression skill or the ability to write a dramatic script and read it back, I think acting is a good way to go, because people are always looking for voiceovers that sound believable or sound conversational or sound like a real person. And even though a lot of the time they all think it does, and it really doesn't. It's that's what they all say they want. And they also being able to sound anywhere from 18 to 75 or 80 helps too. Because there's auditions that are supposed to be kids' voices, but they can't get a kid to deliver the lines, and they'll have somebody that can make their voice high enough to sound like a kid and do that. And then there's old people. I mean, I've been hired. Do you know how many times I've been hired for African American commercials?
That was actually something you talked about on I Know That Voice, because John DiMaggio talks about doing African American voices, and being it's just like the implications of that, especially now.
Yeah, that's my question. Have you noticed if your category of work has lessened because now there's these push for African Americans to be doing African American roles?
Oh yeah, since the old cancel culture with Apu not being able to be
or Cleveland
by Hank Azaria,
right?
Or Cleveland not being able to be voiced by, was it Mike Henry?
Mike Henry.
I don't know. I still audition. I still get the auditions that are supposed to be, hey, can you audition for this United Negro College Fund commercial? The black community is struggling.
Dang.
The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
This is CNN.
Exactly.
But that's just about voice acting. I mean, you're just acting.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like I'm not sitting here like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
I mean, how does one like discern what a white voice or a black voice or an Asian voice sounds like, especially when the person's behind the mic doing the voice? I can understand maybe a female and a male version. Obviously, there's differences there, but definitely like, how do you tell? Because there's a lot.
They don't.
Because I mean, you could listen to African American that might have a different way of speaking, and if you did not hear them or see them personally, you might think, hey, that sounds like a white guy, or everything else like that. So it's really subjective kind of way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They like, and they it seems that they are trying to go with an indiscernible ethnicity with a lot of voiceovers now. I've noticed it's like, okay, well, this person could be Hispanic, or they could be black, or they could be Asian. I can't tell, but they are something, because they don't just sound like,
Hey guys, wanna go get an ice cream?
there's
SpongeBob voice.
That voice is not for dramatic use, obviously.
No,
I'd like to I'll be honest. I'd like to hear that doing Hamlet.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Today or not today? That is the question.
This is the winter of our discontent.
Merry glorious summer.
Will you shut up?
It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the photos again.
Will Squidward come out? No.
No. Go
SpongeBob,
away.
The Burnham Wood has come to Dunsinane again.
The name's Bond. James Bond. Yay.
Please don't shoot me.
Yeah, they all
make my day.
Are you
they
feeling
all
lucky,
seem to
punk?
have the voice on top of that. They have like an inspirational, almost like gritty, ethnic sound. I can't think of who would be almost like Cuba Gooding Jr. trying to do a Spanish accent. Not Spanish, but like a Hispanic accent. That's what these voices I've been hearing pop up more and more again. Or it sounds like a young hipster. Those are the two that I see like happening a lot.
So basically,
is those two
like
types
us.
of voices.
Oh, what you're looking for?
Sounds like that's
It's like
that's
these.
what they're looking for. Yeah.
It's like these inspirational, like,
Try harder. Get up earlier. Push yourself.
those kind of things. Or it's next time I go out and order a double macchiato latte pacino cappuccino al Pacino, I'm gonna say, hey, my name's Darren, not David. And it's just these weird, like,
He's so funny because he's so hip.
Oh.
I just spent $5 on a bubble tea, and I came outside and I said, this tastes like garbage. And then I saw a Starbucks. Starbucks, it's where rich people get their coffee. I'm cool like you.
Jamie and Wayne look like they're about to die.
Wayne's about to die right now. I
His
think
head's about to explode. Like,
Kevin just killed him.
like,
Yeah, Kevin just killed him.
he's gonna.
Do you
like,
know
this-
what the symptoms of a heart attack are? Me either. But maybe it's like that sound a dolphin makes. No, probably not. Microsoft. That's
That is exactly the voice we were looking for. He's hip, he's edgy. We have no idea what he's talking about. The kids will love it.
Oh, Wayne just tapping out. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, I had to make him sit down. He started getting all red in the face.
Oh,
I can
it's like
tell.
his head's about to pop like in Scanners.
Oh, I think we got tears.
Hashtag tears. LOL JK. JK, JK.
You know,
Yellow
personally,
swag, no scope, 420 blaze it.
speaking of redubbing movies, I'd love to see them redub Predator with Looney Tunes characters. That would be awesome. Think about it. Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, you know.
Yeah, you're one ugly motherfucker.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. you got like, you know, you'd have
You son of a you son of a you son of a oh, nice to see you.
Yosemite Sam could be like the Ace Ventura character.
Alrighty then.
I ain't got no time to bleed.
That's a good one.
Oh, sorted.
I can't do that because I don't want to wake my kid up.
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful. Yeah.
I
That's the other
hate
thing I've noticed about
HCA
all these, like,
services.
these like
I'm
Zoom.
here for you. Alrighty then.
We like have to like calm down our voices because like, oh, I can't do the voice I want to do because I got a baby upstairs.
He's got a baby.
I got a baby in the next room.
Yeah,
And his parents want him back.
Hey-o.
Wah, wah, wah.
There was this one time we were doing a podcast and a guy's spleen ruptured. He laughed so hard. Yeah. Target. It's where people buy furniture that don't like Walmart. I love it. Let's put that on the air right now.
That might be our next commercial.
Send it out.
There's like
Target has the worst selection for furniture too.
It really does suck.
It's like they all say like Target's the greatest place to go shopping because it's ultra more fashionable because at least you're not in a Walmart. But when you go into Target, it's like twice as expensive and half the stuff. Like they have the vintage tees, you know. And they're like, yeah,
those places in over a year.
well, nobody's been anywhere for over a year. That's why we're on Zoom right now.
Uh-oh, hold on. Shh, everybody quiet.
I'm seeing. Are we on DEFCON 4? Okay. No, everything's good.
Now we play a game.
Okay, so I thought, testing voice acting, I thought we'd act out a scene with our resident voice actor Kevin, and I found a script online from the Flintstones. It was from 1987, and there was an era of Hanna-Barbera where it seemed like they were trying to revive a lot of their old properties. And I think there was like a revival of like the Jetsons and Yogi Bear, but this never actually got produced. So there's like an early draft from '87 written by Stephen E. Del Souza. But so I think it was, so Alan Reed had long since passed away. So it was like the second voice of Fred Flintstone doing it. So I thought we could have a scene with I'll act out the voices of Barney and Kevin can do Fred. So we can take it from down on the script where it says suddenly a pink flamingo appears over the hedge. As
Stephen, you should know Stephen D'Souza wrote Commando and Judge Dredd.
Really?
And
which Judge Dredd?
Somehow I knew the
which Judge Dredd?
Dredd
yes,
or
Stallone.
the Stallone one.
That's the gold standard right there.
He also co-wrote Die Hard.
Real? Okay, so for some reason that's okay. So he tried to write a
hold on.
Flintstones episode.
You make Commando?
Yeah.
That is like by far, in my opinion, one of the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movies ever. Was Commando.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yep.
So I figured we take the scene from where it says suddenly a pair of pink flamingos appear over the hedge as its mouths open and close. And so it starts with Barney saying, Nice morning, huh, Fred?
Yeah, what's nice about it?
That owl's got quite a real arm on him, don't he?
Yeah. Say, this is the third ragtime this year. Say, shouldn't you be at work?
Oh, well, the appliance store and me, we kind of had a little adjustment.
You got fired, didn't you?
Fred, don't you start on me again. I don't know. I'm just not a 9-to-5 guy. I got dreams, Fred. Ideas.
Yeah, I know. Those crazy inventions of yours. Be honest with me, Barn. Tell me one thing you invented that really caught on.
I invented fire.
You invented fire.
I told you that, Fred, but the coal conglomerates ripped me off. The case is still in court, but I got lots of ideas.
Yeah, but did any one of them ever put bread on the table? How long are you and Betty gonna live on those penny ante royalties you get? If you ask me, pal, you're just blowing smoke up your own volcano.
Maybe, Fred, but first, let me try to get some of that smoke on your car. That's it.
This may have been the worst Flintstone episode ever.
That's why they didn't make
All right. You want to do the other script?
Okay, so
quickly.
Okay,
Yes.
so I think the last script of the night. This is actually from a radio show that was unproduced, but Walt is from Walt Kelly's Pogo, which was from 1949 to like 1970s. Pogo was a very popular script. Walt Kelly was actually a Disney artist, a Disney animator, and he had done, like the character designs for Dumbo and Fantasia, but before moving on to like comic books and comic scripts. And Pogo was actually very popular for, like the whimsy drawings, but it also was big on politics. And he was like the first, not the first artist, but he did a lot of like, caricatures in his script. He did Joseph McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Lyndon Johnson. And so his comic strips were very popular for that, and also got him into a lot of troubles, which for a while he actually had these, when papers would drop him, he had what we called the cute and fluffy bunny scripts, where he'd actually have, these scripts that would have nothing but bunnies in them, because people would complain about the political parts of it. So he goes, well, if you don't want to hear about the real world, then you're just going to get cute and fluffy bunnies. So this was actually from a radio show that was produced in like the 1950s, which would have had the Pogo characters in it. So I thought, I'd sort of figured this would also give a chance for Kevin to display his talent for acting multiple characters, and Jamie, Andrew, and I would also act out a few of the supporting characters as well. So
I'll do mine horribly.
Yeah. Oh well, we apart from Kevin, we all will. So.
Kevin's the man.
Yes.
I can't confirm or deny what's going to happen here.
La la la. Okay.
So we'll start with Porky at the.
Hello, Pogo. Who's your companion?
Hello, Porcupine, Hound Dog. This is old Porcupine. Porky Boy here say he don't like nobody.
Just the opposite of man's best friend, the dog, who is truly a loving, kindly soul. Overcome with modesty, I blush to think of the virtues shared by my kind.
He carries on like that constant.
What kind of virtues is these what makes a kid rash out on blushes? My favorite hate is the critter what snuck on himself. I don't like it when I do it, and if I don't like or favor me, I'm not gonna lay awake nights thinking about anybody else.
The dog listens with great courtesy and a sad forbearance.
Stop putting on a brag. You nothing but a lost hound dog.
Hello, Albert. This here's my faithful boon companion, the Hound Dog. He calls himself the Witch, faithful and devoted, much to my regrets.
Man's best friend loathes the uncouth. He is dignified, calm, and refined.
Yet, mark you, sir, he is alert. Alert and aware. Indeed, perception is our watchword. Yup.
Hound dog, so watchful of his words, he gone and crash into that tree.
Well, I was saying, forgiveness is our watchword.
You'll forgive it, all right. It was high told of you to stay mad at the tree. You only bit it once. Here comes the United States government mail. I'm gonna close my eyes and practice flying blind. Hard left rudder, city automatic pilot. Shoals ahead. Women and children first.
Doggone it, Curtis Duck. You open your eyes when you're flying. You done crashed into my face bone.
Any word you say held again you, Albert? My Jingleberry, you is jailhouse bait for interfering with the United States government mail.
What's this that fell out of your mailbag when you was practicing flying blind? You look like a message. It looks like a message of some kind.
Who it for?
Left my spectacles in my Sunday suit. Sorry. Here, you read it, Curtis.
Hot dog, now I can practice my schooling. First off, we got a W next to a thingamajig that looks like a stepladder. Then a doohickey with spots. And
Foo boy, you hasn't even gone through your wheels off the runway. I'll get old Howlin' Owl to read it.
Wuffo, you want this read, Albert?
Read her out loud, Owl. Wuffle's my own business.
There is no business like your business.
Where's it say that, man?
That was a personal secretary, Albert. This here say Weirnted. Then it got a little bit spectacle letters.
Winted?
Yes, sir, Winted. Must be the story about a boy with a down went someplace.
You little hoppity frog, look at that. The word ain't winted. That word is wanted. A is one letter, I know. Just had A in school, and I good at it. A it is. A police bulletin. Can't make her out, Albert. But these kind poster is usually about sneaky murderers and criminals.
Yeah! Wee! Well, if anybody was paying attention, you notice Kevin did like several voices in that, all of which that sounded fantastic. So voice acting isn't as easy as people make it out to be.
Kevin.
I really liked the.
That was great.
Let me go back here. This one line, I was trying not to laugh. I was reading it. I could see Andrew out of the corner of my eye too. I was like, "Oh, the
hot dog. Now I can practice my schooling. First off, we got W next to a thingamajig that looks like a stepladder. Then a doohickey with spots."
And I'm thinking, what letters are he? Oh, he's that guy.
The doohickey, yeah.
A doohickey with spots.
Stepladder.
Winted.
Very good.
That there is wanted. That's a A.
Actually, it's funny because there was a couple, the only two times Pogo was ever animated. Once was by Chuck Jones in 1967 for a special called the Pogo Birthday Special, which actually had June Foray as the voice of Pogo. And the only other time was a claymation that was done in like 1980, which had like Skip Hinnett, who had done Fritz the Cat as Pogo. But it also had like Vincent Price, Jonathan Winters, and Stan Freberg in that one, and Ruth Buzzy it was in it as well.
Yeah.
So, it's just like everybody who was like popular in the 1960s would have still been kind of remembered by 1980. But
Pogo looks like he would have like a June 4A-ish voice to me.
Yeah.
He looks like a little kid kind of.
Yeah, it's like, he's supposed to be a possum, but he kind of looks like, a young boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was,
Did we get?
but you look at him, it's very much the Walt Kelly style was in the very Disney, tradition of the way the characters looked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah,
That's all I got to say about that.
They all
That's
wore
all.
vests and no pants.
Mama always said, shut the fuck up.
This is the best job to have without having to wear pants.
And I'm not.
Being a voiceover artist or a cartoon. You don't.
What
wear
happened
pants.
to Wayne? Did we kill him?
Oh, gosh.
Oh no! He's just sitting down. He's on the chair.
Oh, there he is. He was out of
He's
the
on oxygen.
he's
out to
totally
the
here.
view. Okay.
He's on oxygen right now.
Well, he laughed so hard that he
Oh, you
that he
did- no,
fell
you
off
did-
of that. He fell
No,
off
you
that
guys
there
killed
thing.
me
You
earlier.
said no.
Earlier, but I was holding my side. I was trying to let you guys know. I was like,
He laughed till he stopped.
I can't take it anymore.
This shall not stand.
See, that's how you torture somebody to tell the truth.
Laugh
Forget
them
about
to
this,
death.
like, putting like
Do
needles
impressions?
underneath their fingernails or any of that, like, waterboarding nonsense. Come on. That's what the U.S. government should be doing.
You just do a little rich little.
Actually, I think my only other voice acting story was my aunt worked in a bank in Santa Barbara, California, where Don Mezek was one of her customers.
Don Mezek, he
Yeah.
is
Scooby-Doo.
Wait, don't tell me. Yeah, Scooby-Doo
Correct.
and Elroy too, right?
No, Dawes Butler was Elroy. Don Mezek played like Ranger Smith, Papa Smurf.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else he sort of, did a lot of, but Boo Boo Bear.
Oh, okay.
Yogi's little annoying mascot. But
Little bitch boy.
But
I'm
yeah,
trying
Don Mezek was one of her customers that came in every day, and that was the other thing I was going to mention was like with a lot of voice actors, there's always the one voice that sounds closest to like their original voices. Like with Jim Henson, he sounded closest to Kermit the Frog. Mel Blanc, it was Sylvester the Cat. Dawes Butler, if you listen to him, it was Huckleberry Hound. Dawes Butler was Huckleberry Hound. Don Mezek was Ranger Smith. So there's like or even if you hear Seth MacFarlane, it was Brian the dog. So there's always that one voice that voice actors do that sounds like the closest to their voice.
See, I'm always trying to imagine like all these voiceover actors in their careers, like, behind the music where they become popular and then they go off the rails and they start like drinking and doing drugs and, they're still doing the characters and they have a huge falling out with like everything else like that, all the drama and everything that goes along with being in the music industry, but instead it's voiceover industry. That would be hilarious. That doesn't happen though.
Or at least we don't hear about it because
Yeah.
they're not in front
You
of
know
the
who
camera.
I am? I'm Elroy Jetson.
I had a career once.
Take me to Astro's grave.
I was Fred Flintstone, damn it.
Mr. Slate.
I wanted to make so many jokes, but I was afraid I'd be canceled.
Don't even know.
I had
what
like
to joke
25
about
jokes
anymore.
like in my head, and I just thought, like, I can't. Can I say
Don't
that?
worry about
You have to go through the whole Rolodex in your head and be like, "Can I? Nope. Can I? Nope.
No,
God
no.
Nope.
Damn it!
Nope.
That
word's
worked
not
back
okay
in
either. Nope.
'93. Damn it!
Nope. That joke don't work no more. Nope.
No.
Nope.
Wrong.
Oh,
I have a
man,
whole
can't say
list.
that word.
I have a whole list of ideas for things that I'm trying to work out. How can I do these that people will laugh and they won't be offended? So, but hey,
No
It's
matter
like
what,
walking on a
someone's gonna be
minefield.
offended. Yeah.
It's walking on a minefield. That's all it is. That's all. Is this funny? Ah.
Actually, here's a question. What are some of your favorite impersonations that you do? What are some of the ones that you always really enjoy doing?
whatever makes people laugh the most would have been when I was on the radio.
Right.
That would have been what I would say. People always like it when I do an impression of somebody that's really good, but they're doing something that you wouldn't expect. Like we were joking earlier about SpongeBob. Sorry about my giant hand. We were like doing the SpongeBob in other movie roles. That kind of thing they think is really funny. So I used to do a bit. I briefly tried stand up, and totally different world, because being in front of people instead of them laughing and then not being able to see and then coming up afterwards saying, "Oh my God, you were so hilarious," as opposed to having the instant. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But I had a bit that
world.
I did. Yeah, I had a bit I did when I was doing that was Morgan Freeman telling dirty jokes. So it would be him very pleasantly doing something, but it would be like the most horrible jokes you'd ever heard. I'm trying to let me think of one. It said one day, let me put on my headphones so I can hear myself. It'll be better if I do it. Okay. One day, little Johnny went into the bathroom and caught his mother in the shower. And he pointed down at his mother and said, "Mommy, what's that?" And Mom said, "Well, that's where your father accidentally hit me with an axe." And little Johnny said, "Wow, he got you right in the cunt."
Oh my God.
A very timid white man got sentenced to prison for stock market fraud. When he got there, he was sharing his cell with a 6'4" black man. And he was afraid. He was in the corner. He didn't know what was going to happen. The black man said, "We're going to play a little game. It's called House. Do you want to be the mommy or do you want to be the daddy?" Well, of course, the frightened stock market man said, "I want to be the daddy." And the big black man said, "Then come over here and suck mommy's dick."
Oh.
Now, are these
From a deleted scene from Shawshank Redemption.
These are the only two I can remember off the top of my head. There were a
part
few
of your
more, but
the original your original act?
yes, I'm trying to think what there was.
That's
There was
oh my God, that's great.
God, I'm trying to think. I can remember. I can't remember the punchline of this one joke.
Oh.
All three, when you're just doing them like 3 or 4 in a row like that, people can't stop laughing from the one before when I start telling another one, because I already know the ending's going to be something like horrific. But I can't remember what the one was. It's about this guy who keeps something in the bathroom keeps biting him when he goes to pee, and I can't remember what it is. So I'll have to.
Is it Woody Allen?
And
there's the joke.
I do have the jokes somewhere, but those two I remembered off the top of my head. So
he has like a whole notebook full of jokes, like big, huge.
I write things down.
Yeah.
Like stuff that I was thinking of doing that I wonder if people would be offended by, like the Trans DeLorean instead of the Mandalorian. Because
I don't know if we can get away with that nowadays. Yeah.
I'm probably going to do it anyway.
Okay.
There's still a bunch of people that would appreciate that humor still being out there.
Do you
understand that is,
that it is
there's no malice behind it, but it is just the joke for being a good joke.
Yeah.
But do you find there are times when you come up with an idea that you have to get it out on paper, or just be able to get it out of your system and saying, okay, I came out with it, I fleshed it out, I put it on hard copy, I'm done, I can move on to something else. Do you feel like if you try to not think of that joke or not go down that line, that it kind of holds you up from your other line of thinking?
Sometimes, yeah. I know that if I, especially the way that my head works now, if I don't immediately put something down, I will forget it, and then I'll remember it later and be like, "Oh yeah, I should have." So every time, even if it's just like 3 words, I will dictate it to my phone.
Yes.
I know it's in there, or write a notebook, but then there'll be times where I'll have an idea and I'll try to I'll flesh out an idea, and I'm like, this isn't going anywhere. I'll just trash the whole idea, because you can't write an entire bit around one funny line.
Right.
Sometimes. So, yeah.
Unless you're Harland Williams.
That's right, Cinnamon Bear. You don't even have to have any kind of, method to the madness there with your pumpkin pie haircutted freak. Why don't you put some cinnamon on it there? You like that, buddy?
Oh my God. That's what I mean. We can just throw out a name that he's never done. That's the second time I just throw out a crazy name that I don't think he could do the impression to, and he does it right away.
They had a fight between, or at least they had like a Biden off where they had like Jim Carrey and Steve Carell. What was it? And not Steve Carell. It was God damn it! What was the other guy's name?
Dana Carvey. Dana Carvey.
Dana Carvey and what's the late night host? Glasses, Colbert, I think. And they did like an impression of Biden to each other.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny
yes,
to
I
watch.
saw that. Yeah.
I love Dana Carvey.
Dana
I think
Carvey
Dana's. He's just
He's another one we haven't mentioned. He's always, he was one of those guys who could just do snap impressions. Sort of like a Phil Hartman.
And some of his impressions may not have been spot on, but it's just he does such funny stuff with them that it's hilarious.
The energy. It's the energy behind it.
His character behind it as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I can think of back is like Phil Hartman's Bill Clinton, just doing the Bill Clinton's like, oh yeah, I'm right here for you, Bill McNeil. I'll be your bitch.
Yeah. And when he did the bit where he was going for a jog, he went to McDonald's and he was talking to each person, but he's also eating their food at the same time.
Yeah.
You might have a couple of them fries. Oh man, those are really good. Oh,
and it goes to warlords.
What we're gonna do about taxes is we're gonna. Oh, do you mind if I have your fish fillet?
Let's say this fish fillet is a tariff. I'm going to take some of this tariff. Yeah,
but it goes to the warlords. He just keeps
it goes to warlords. Just like this it goes to the warlords.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Oh my God.
Actually, another one I was listening to recently was Maurice LaMarche doing an impersonation of like Orson Welles, like ripping the shit out of like these people that were producing the commercials for like frozen peas. It's like, if you ever heard the original tape of Orson Welles, just the outtakes of him saying, we go to a field where these frozen peas. Do we really go to a field? He just like is completely like eviscerating these. It's like, oh, this is such shit.
I have somewhere all of those famous celebrity bloopers like on a tape, the John Wayne and this is goddamn ridiculous and the case the Casey Kasem dog dedication. I have all those on a reel. But the Orson Welles thing is on there too.
Fucking jug.
Yeah, and the Colonel. Have you ever heard the Colonel Sanders one where he can't get through
No.
He's trying to do a commercial for Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he's just having trouble talking. He's got that 18 spurs and spices. Is that what's I saying? 18 spurs and spices. It's the richest finger record. I mean, there's a lot of words he just couldn't get out.
That reminds me of that History Channel, like the men who built America's food or whatever, and they had a whole thing about him. And apparently he had like a fight. He had a shotgun fight with somebody over his fried chicken, and he actually shot somebody over it.
Wow,
that's some damn good chicken.
Nobody wanted to mess around with no Colonel's chicken.
Yeah, I put the chicken in the bucket, and he kicked the bucket.
Nice.
He became one of the secret ingredients.
11 herbs and spices, and one dead guy. It's finger looking good, bitch.
Hey, you want a bucket of chicken there, do you? Want some KFC, Jamie? Huh? Let's go walking down there and get us some chicken littles. We got those buttery buns. You like those buttery buns and the potato sticks and the fried chicken liver, you betcha. Hey, Mahalia, we're going to walk around the drive-thru. We don't have a truck today. Give us some of that chicken to go. Oh, KFC.
Oh, breathe. Gotta breathe.
That's funny. I remember one night.
I think we're gonna lose Wayne.
Microphone.
Wayne just lying back like, oh, no more. I can't handle it.
There was a night that I remember the last time I busted out a Harlan Williams, and Molly my wife didn't even know what I was doing. We made this, there was this chicken dish that I was making, and I think there was something wrong with the chicken, and we didn't know till after it was cooked. And I said, Molly, what's happening? Uh-oh. This is not a time for children to be listening.
It was my wife. She's telling me she's going to work.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she a third shifter?
Yeah, she is.
Where does she work?
She's a
we
CNA.
can cut this part out.
Yeah, she's a CNA. She takes care of elderly people. So a lot of these elderly people, they'd really think that those impressions are the real people, because a lot of them have dementia. They wouldn't know.
Oh, we going for a ride?
Could you imagine just giving them a call, say, doing your Johnny Carson? In these old.
Hello, this is Charlton Heston, and you're about to die. I'm going to see you in heaven in a few minutes, and I just want you to know that Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon will be very happy to see you.
Yeah, you speak for yourself here, man. I don't want to see this old person.
Very good for you, you moron.
I'm not happy to see them. They can all go to hell for all I care.
Are they shitting themselves?
They look like
what
garbage.
are you talking about? Don't bring that stuff up.
They look like garbage.
It smells like garbage.
My wife can come home and tells me stories about all the stuff that happens. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a friend who also does that, and she's told me some very interesting stories. Oh, so
it's
so I was making this dish one night, and when it came out of the oven, it was something. It was like a meal in a kit. It was one of those kits where it's like, oh, so everything comes in the kit, and you make the food. All you have to do is buy.
like Blue Box,
like Blue Apron. Blue Apron.
Oh, okay.
Blue Apron. Okay,
yeah.
There you go.
So it got. This is going to be offensive. We might not even be able to use this, but I just have to tell the story because of how it ends.
Well, they're not a sponsor anyway.
No, they're not.
They're not a sponsor, so fuck them.
And I said, Molly, I don't know how to say this, but do you smell that? I said, will you come and smell of this chicken? And then I will tell you what it smells like to me. And she came and smelled it. And I said, smells like stinky pussy chicken. And she started laughing. I said, hey, let's go down to the SPC. Instead of KFC, it's the stinky pussy chicken. It's not finger licking good. It's finger stinking bad.
Oh my God.
Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Stinky Pussy Chicken. It's finger stinking bad. Hotel accommodations provided by Stinky Pussy Hotels in exchange for this announcement.
Mom, Dad says it smells like you.
Like any other, we put 3 in the stink.
Oh, look at that. Punch you right in the cunt. I got that joke from Morgan Freeman. Cinnamon Bear.
Oh my God.
I can't stop crying.
Can't get enough of that stink in the cunt.
I love pussy jokes. Let me tell you. Hillary hates them, but I love them.
I can't get enough of that pussy. That pussy's not a bad pussy, if you tell me.
Hey, this is Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, and I want you to listen to me. I love pussy jokes.
Oh, Wayne took his headset off.
Yeah, you couldn't even get through it.
He
That's
lost
great.
it. It's over.
Yep.
All I'm saying is my penis belongs in the White House.
And by White House, I mean pussy. Wow. This is de-escalating quickly.
It really is.
Dude, we haven't even, how much liquor have we had? We've had nothing.
I've had a couple.
Speak for yourself.
I need something.
There you go, Brett. Me
Mental,
too. I
mental
saw Brett having a
suppository
pint.
after dark.
Yeah, pretty
We're
much.
just punchy.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We're just going
Well, I
up the
think,
uterus and to you.
Anything else you wanted to kind of add, Kevin, just before we leave and sign off, just for the podcast? Just final words of wisdom. Oh, wizard you are.
I don't think you should give up if that's what you want to do for a living. And it's
Right.
all about, do a lot of practicing, do a lot of YouTube is very useful for watching how people do things. Sometimes, when I was growing up, there was an impression I couldn't get. If I saw somebody else do it, that's how I would pick up on it. Like I always did like a passable Carson. I didn't do a good Carson until I saw Dana Carvey do it. And it's not because Dana Carvey necessarily sounded like him, but it was all of the little nuances that he added that I was able to pick up on the voice and just kind of, I could come out and ad lib and pretend to be Carson. And it would just be, we've got coming up next, we've got Joan Embry from the San Diego Zoo. And you're not going to believe this, but Avery Schreiber is here. It's like
it's just
exactly
mannerisms and everything done.
Yeah, so those kind of things, watching somebody else do an impression sometimes will help you do a better impression than that person to begin with.
Well, actually, it's funny because a lot of bad impressions actually sometimes become really good character voices.
Yeah,
because Hank Azaria talks about the voice of Mo was a bad Al Pacino impersonation.
Oh,
I found that out on the same documentary. Because is there a huge ass here? Check the bathrooms for a huge ass.
I always thought that Mo was based on the old prank calls, the voice of the bartender on the old tube. They were called the Tube Bar. It was like this series of prank calls where somebody was calling up and saying, yeah, is there a Homer there? Homer sexual? And the guy would be, well, yeah, I'll rip your throat out and crap down your neck. It was, I thought it was based on that. Interesting. Yeah. Al Pacino. Cool.
Yeah, I guess Al Pacino, Edward G. Robinson, of course, and Wiggum's, Jerry Lewis, and Professor Frank, which I always thought they kind of missed it by not doing, because I always thought Professor Frank kind of sounded like the lead singer for Green Day. So I always thought that could have been a great. I thought they could have been a great Green Day parody of Professor Frank singing Basket Case. I always kind of hated Green Day.
But the microphone as an instrument should be viable and alive and a helpmate, so that when you walk into a microphone and you talk like this, and everything comes out as like silk, and it's nice and it's very soft, and you give no energy at all, and the microphone helps you. But so many people just talk like that in front of a microphone as if you're supposed to, like the microphone expects it.
On behalf of Kevin, Jamie, Andrew, and Wayne, thank you for listening to the Mental Suppository. Until next week, this is Brett Hurholtz saying,
I knew I'd disturb you.
The Mental Suppository has been produced by Brett Hurholtz and Jamie Billings and distributed by M the Media Project. Theme music generously donated by Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer. Visit his webpage at gentlemanrhymer.com. We would love to hear from our fans. Email us at mentalsuppository@gmail.com.